Hey.
It has arrived. I am so excited. So we just got the package up on the porch and we're gonna unbox it. And thank you to Menifee Mailboxes, specifically Beverly. They're at Menifee Mailboxes in California, for wrapping it so nicely. It got here in one piece. There was just one little dent in the side, but I don't think anything's gonna be damaged on the inside. Thank you, Beverly. As you can see, Beverly made this nice package out of multiple boxes. And the story behind this is we have a friend who lived in Whittier, California. She wintered in Whittier, California and summered in Missouri, and we had visited them in both places. And when she passed away, we just wanted this peacock as a memento of her. It's just a keepsake, but it's a very large keepsake. So you'll see it in a minute. Beverly, you did a really, really good job. And there it is. When we were trying to figure out how to ship it, I had toyed with the idea of just kind of breaking off part of it and re-welding it when we got it back to our house, because it was so, even though it was lightweight, I think in the box it weighed about 35 pounds, but it was just so bulky. We were trying to figure out how to get it from California to our house, and it was ridiculous, the prices that people were wanting to charge. And I thought I was just going to end up having to sell it on Facebook Marketplace. Yay! So she did such a nice job boxing it up. It doesn't look like anything really got damaged. And then she's got it taped to this flat piece of cardboard down here so that it didn't move. And she had it kind of cushioned with some styrofoam as well. And thank you also to Erin, Erin B, for picking it up for us from our friend's house in California and storing it for about 2 months until we could figure out how we could afford to ship it, because some of the larger well-known carriers were wanting to charge $12,000, $14,000 to ship this. And as you can see, it's not very heavy. There's not a lot to it. It was just extremely bulky. Like I see, I'm picking it up. It's like 25 pounds maybe, but it made it here. I'm so excited. It was made out of, I believe it was from one of our friend's previous students, and they were an artistic welder, and so I'm not sure what all these parts are from, but there's a hubcap in there, and there's a can there, and I'm sure maybe somebody can recognize some of these other pieces. There looks like the tail's made out of a flattened can, but I just have always admired this piece, and I'm so excited to have it at our house. I'm not exactly sure where we're gonna put it. I think it's gonna live in front of our fireplace for the time being. And then I was a little concerned with the grandkids and like the pokey parts, but I think we'll be okay. So anyway, thanks again to Beverly from Menifee Mailboxes and for Freight Center, who was able to figure out how to get it shipped affordably for us. There's the box without the peacock in it. That thing is huge. If we had our grandkids here, they'd want to play in it. And that was the one little area back there in the corner that was damaged. So thank you, Beverly and R&L Carriers and Freight Center. So I want to just give you a quick recap of the whole experience. We had a friend of ours that passed away in Whittier, California. We had a wonderful friend that stopped by, Erin B, thank you very much, and picked up the peacock from the residents in Whittier after their sale was over. When he arrived, he found out that the house had been ransacked the night before. And so he was the first one to realize, he and the neighbor, when he stopped by to pick up the peacock. So that was kind of a whole ordeal, but he got the peacock. He took it back to his house where it sat for a month, probably 2 months, while we tried to figure out how in the world to get this thing shipped, because it's rather large. I don't know if you've ever tried to ship anything that's out of the normal parameters. It was lightweight. I think it weighed about 25 pounds, but if you wanted to use UPS or USPS, Pirate Ship, any of these other companies, there is a maximum volume that you can ship, and this was outside of that because it was 48 inches tall by 48 inches wide by 38 inches deep. So it was rather large. We tried multiple different ideas on how to get it shipped. The one that I almost did was to order a box. It was going to be a crate. It was about $350 from Uline, and have it drop shipped to Aaron's house so he could just put it in the box, and then I would have UPS pick it up. It was ridiculous how expensive UPS and FedEx, the prices that they were wanting to charge us. I have a couple screenshots of $14,000, $12,000 to get that little, I mean, not little, but lightweight peacock shipped from California to Indiana. Beverly at Menifee Mailboxes had offered to have one of her drivers bring it to us, but that was still out of our price range. Thank you, Beverly, and the driver very much. That was very kind of you. But ultimately, we stumbled across freight center online. I had been Googling and looking through Grok, Chat GPT, Gemini, just asking all these different AI things how to get this shipped at the best price. So we ended up going with Freight Center because they, well, let me back up just real quick. I also signed up for FedEx Freight, which gave discounted shipping costs to its customers. And so that was going to be about 400 and close to $500, but they required a pallet. And if it was not on a pallet and they had to supply the pallet, it was going to be a lot more money. And so we ended up canceling that pickup and going with Freight Center. So Freight Center ultimately ended up charging $651 for the shipment from Menifee, California to Central Indiana. And they used R&L carriers. I actually, in addition, called R&L carriers to see what they would charge. And they were going to charge, it was going to be around $800. So everywhere I looked, the 650, although it was tough to swallow, it started looking better and better, especially when I started off with 12,000, 14,000 estimates, shipping estimates from UPS and FedEx, which I was just at the point where I was going to just say, some semi driver, stick that thing on your hood as your hood ornament and start heading east, please. And it'll get here eventually. Because I really wasn't concerned about the length of time. I knew it would get here eventually, but just I was almost at my wit's end and ready to sell it on Facebook Marketplace and just have somebody come and pick it up at Menifee mailboxes and more. So as to boxing it, we had also considered ordering several large boxes, cardboard boxes, and a roll or two of duct tape, and having Aaron like create a telescoping box around the peacock, but that just wasn't exactly feasible either. I didn't want Aaron to have to do much more than he already had, and so then we ended up. I ended up getting online, and I found Menifee mailboxes and more. And I spoke with Beverly, and she was very warm and enthusiastic and reassuring that she would be able to get this shipped for us. And so I asked Aaron if he would mind dropping it off to Beverly, and then Beverly could take it from there. And I think Aaron was overjoyed to get it out of his house. I don't know if he has kids at home, but that it's got a couple pokey areas and it's kind of large. So I'm sure they weren't too sad to see it go. And so Beverly got it, and she also found out that the price for UPS and FedEx were extremely outrageous. I would say $12,000, $14,000 to ship said package. And so we got on, and that's when I discovered Freight Center. And I talked to Christopher there at Freight Center, and then Andrew, and they were both extremely helpful. They assured me that it could be picked up without a pallet, although R&L carriers told me when they dropped it off that in the future a pallet needs to be on a pallet, which I did discover that you could kind of handcraft your own pallet on out of cardboard. If you had lots of cardboard scraps, you could have it on a nice flat piece of cardboard, and then you could make like runners that you could tape up underneath or glue, and it could be secured, but make it look like a pallet. And they sell them online as well, but those were also kind of prohibitive because to buy them, I would have had to buy multiples, which would just have put me up in the expense category. So I also discovered that you could ship via Greyhound if you're flexible with that, and if you're able to take it to a drop off and pickup place. If you're able to drop it off at a Greyhound location and then you can pick it up at another Greyhound location, that would have been approximately between $400 and $500 to do that. But there is no insurance or anything like that, which I wasn't really crazy about that idea. I also discovered there are several companies that work, they're like the Goodwill of packaging. So if you have a shipment that comes, and instead of throwing all your packaging away, you can take your boxes, crates, pallets to these recycling centers, and they just drop them off to them, and they will reuse them. So you could go, like if you were in search of packaging or crates, you could go to those places and pick up your crate uh, for a cost, but it'll be less expensive than if you were to buy it brand new from somewhere. So that was also an interesting resource that I discovered. One important thing is the reason that they want your items to be on pallets is it gives the item kind of an island of safety in the back of a semi truck. Things kind of get tousled, and if it's attached to a pallet, it is typically safer. It The pallet's not as likely to move. The item won't like bump into another item. Other items are not going to bump into that item because they're also secured onto these pallets. So it does make sense, even though it was a small, lightweight item itself could have flown off and made a dent in somebody else's package, or anything like that. Just think of, if a semi truck has to put its brakes on, and some of the cargo that it's holding moves forward and it shifts in the shipment. So that explains that. Also, this qualified for LTL shipping, which that was a new term for me. LTL is called less than a truckload. So if even though it was just one item, it's considered LTL freight shipping. I was so relieved to get this project finished. Thank you again to Freight Center and Beverly at Menifee Mailboxes and more, and our friend Aaron. And Freight Center had it worked out so well that they filled out all the paperwork for the bill of lading and everything, and all Beverly had to do was print it off and stick it onto the package, and it was good to go. Beverly was very affordable with her packaging as well. That lovely igloo packaging that she did around the peacock custom was $80. So thank you, Beverly. My package was picked up in Menifee on a Tuesday, and it was delivered the following Monday to me in Central Indiana. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any shipping tips and tricks to share in the comments. And I am an Amazon affiliate, and I will have some shipping items and things for you to peruse in the description below. And thank you. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content. Thanks for watching The Brick House. So here it is in front of our fireplace, and it's bigger than I thought because of the way it's shaped. The tail feathers kind of go back in a curve, and it doesn't allow the feet to fully sit on our fireplace. So we're gonna have to rethink where we're gonna put this. But in the meantime, my son was like, "Hey, what are we gonna name it?" And he suggested Jerry. So if anybody else has any cool names that they think we should name it, let us know in the comments.